Walter Birch and a bunch of other smart people are going to do a lead gen mastermind. So all just basically brainstorming all the different ways that they're generating leads right now. And Kent is going to go into Mastermind B for any questions that you have from him. And on this stage, we are going to bring up two guys who are going to talk about personal branding. In all the time that Ryan and Perry and I have been doing stuff, we have had kind of crappy websites personally, and so we're in the process of making those better. We reached out and found a guy, Dmitriy Kozlov, who has done Frank Kern's site, Dean Graciosi, JJ Virgin, Jeff Walker, Kent Clothier, etc. He just finished a site for me. He's going to talk about how you build the perfect personal branding site, and it's already resulted in some pretty cool opportunities with YPO for a deal for digital marketer and some other stuff for us, and it just launched a couple of days ago, so I finally got to send people to it, and it actually looks somewhat professional now. Dima just got married yesterday and is here celebrating with all of us his wedding. And I had a great experience with him. And then right after Dima, as part of this session, we're going to bring up Patrick Combs. And Patrick is going to talk about how to discover and share your origin story, which I thought was total bullshit, and told him that when Dima referred me to him and said, I'm never going to do that. But I did, and I'm really, really happy I did, and it turned out great. So let's give a big hand to Dima Kozlov.
Thank you. Good to see you. Good morning. I want to invite each of you to take a deep breath with me. We're going to have some fun for the morning, and then we'll get into some great tactical stuff, which will also be fun. So, all right, try it with me. See, you never know the last breath you will take. So face death every day, because in the face of death, everything falls away, leaving only what is truly important to you. Your music, your story, your truth, your beauty, your soul, what you do, as unity forms within you and your music is pouring from you, till every last bit of your fuel and your courage is used. And even when it feels like your hustle is useless, just remember that nothing is useless. And even when you're suffering as an entrepreneur, there's a reason that you've been suffering through this, because it's something that moves you to remember the truth that you've got nothing to lose. And even more so, you've got nothing to prove. So just do what you love and love what you do. Trust in your music. Fuck your excuses. Stay hungry. Stay foolish. One of my clients, Michael Perella, when Patrick worked on his origin story, which he will share later, so I won't go into the detail of this. The headline on this was, "What will they say at my funeral?" And the story starts with him doodling out his tombstone. Now we'll come back to this. Why are you here? Meaning, why are you in Warham and why are you in business? I believe that you are in business to fully express your entrepreneurial essence. Who you are as an entrepreneur, who you are as a human being, you're here to fully express that to the world. Through doing that, through your greatest expression, you have your greatest influence. And through your greatest expression, leading to your greatest influence, you have your greatest impact, which ultimately leads to your greatest profits. So yes, you're in business to make money, to make profits, leads, sales, and everything, and all of that starts from fully expressing who you are, and that's what your business is ultimately about. Let's get tactical for a minute. Somebody Googles your name. They find yourname.com, if you own the domain or something similar, and ask yourself, are you proud of what your name.com currently looks like? Does it authentically express your essence and who you are? And are you happy with the business results that it drives for your business and how it impacts your influence in the market? See, I believe your influencer site, which is what we call these personal brand sites, the RolandFrazier.com, right? I believe your influencer site is actually the center of your online universe. And I want to ask you, what's one extra, if you ask yourself, what's one extra major media appearance, major speaking gig, let's say at EO or YPO or something along those lines, or in a room like this, right? Or one extra high-ticket client, if you're in the coaching, consulting, advising business, one extra mastermind member, if you have a high-ticket mastermind, or just a line business deal. What's one extra of those worth to you? Now, if you do this right, you will have many more than one extra from doing nothing else different in your business. And then beyond that, on a deeper level, what's expressing your essence fully in business worth to you? So I believe that to do all of this effectively, you want an influencer site, a website that drives leads and sales, obviously, that builds authority and trust, that gets remembered and shared, and that fully expresses your essence, because if it does, you will be more likely to share it with the world, and so will others, and you'll actually be more likely to use it and blog on there versus being embarrassed by the site that people might find you at. So 3 quick things to know about me personally. One is I'm not here as a speaker so much as I'm a specialist, and my specialty is in helping entrepreneurs express their essence and amplify their influence in a way that is profitable for their business. What got me here was having done this for Roland. This is at his photo shoot when we were extracting and expressing his essence, and part of his essence is a taste for really, really great wine. This is in his wine room that we were connecting during his photo shoot and enjoying wine. 2 is I like cats and poetry. We'll get into that. Meow. Love it. And my personal purpose on this planet is to accelerate the evolution of love through inspiring and empowering influencers. And that's what I do through my agency, InfluX, which is really the combination of influence and expression, with the belief that your greatest influence comes from your greatest expression. And we build beautiful influencer sites that amplify your essence or that express your essence and amplify your influence. So what influence can you expect today from this expression? Primarily, you'll learn all the influencer ingredients. What's up, Joe? You'll learn all the influencer ingredients and the results recipe to build your personal brand site. Now again, you want an influencer site that drives results in the forms of leads and sales, that builds authority and trust, that gets remembered and shared, and that fully expresses your essence. Now the 3 pillars, we'll actually just call these the 3 Prs to your perfect personal brand site. The 3 Prs are purpose, perception, and personality. Now, you'll hopefully remember all of these because of my cats on stage here. But one is the primary purpose of your site and of any section on your site. We're going to go through a ton of examples of how to actually apply this. But one of the biggest mistakes I see many entrepreneurs and web professionals make with their websites, personal brands or not, is you go to a page and there's like 7 different things that you should be doing on that page or even within one section. So really having an intentional purpose to the site overall and having an intentional purpose to each page and each section. 2 is perception. So what do you want somebody to feel and remember as they experience you? So much like you're experiencing me on stage here, and you get experienced whenever you walk into a room, it's a similar thing when somebody visits your site online. They have an experience and a perception of you. And whether that's congruent with who you actually are is dependent on how your site is done. I love this article by Neil Patel. Who's read this? Awesome, a few of you. So how spending $162,000 on clothes, maybe $692,000. He did nothing different than started to go into his business deals with much more expensive clothing, and people started paying him a whole lot more money for otherwise the same deals. And he brings this lesson into marketing and business, and I highly recommend just checking out this article for yourself at some point. How do you build great perception on a site? It's through great photography, through design and branding, through power positioning, and expert storytelling. You're going to hear from Patrick after this on the best approach to expert storytelling and telling your story in a way that truly connects with your audience and makes an impact. And 3 is personality. So is your site an authentic expression of you, of who you are? Now, here's an example of 3 separate sites that we've designed with my team. Every example I'm going to go through has been our work and our research going into artistic expression. So these all follow virtually the same formula. There's a Frank Kern, Yannick Silver, Mike Koenigs. Frank's looks like a direct response ad in many ways. Yannick's looks like, if you know Yannick, you'll know that he colors and doodles a lot in his journal. And Mike looks like if you walk into his studio in San Diego, it's an experience of that online. So 3 separate sites following virtually the same formula, 3 totally different essence expressions. See, I believe that through being authentic, online and offline, you give your audience permission to be too, and that's really what everybody wants. Everybody wants permission to be fully themselves, and through doing that effectively through your branding, you give other people permission to do that as well. So I'll give you a warning. Everything we're talking about here is really hard. And it's so hard that even most online influencers, including the ones that you look up to in this room, never get this right. Actually, Roland asked me to, instead of just sharing some of our successful clients, also look up some people in the room and find their personal brand sites and share them. And I didn't have to go very far to find Perry Belcher and Ryan Dice, both of whom are examples we'll go into in a moment with terrible personal brand sites. And the sad thing here is that even most web professionals, people you pay money to, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars, really suck at getting this right. At getting you a results-driven site, much less one that actually expresses your essence and who you are. So you end up wasting money, time, and energy without getting the results you want. And it's not your fault. It's not their fault. They just don't have the recipe for results. If you give them this recipe, a decent or even like mediocre web professional can build you something that will be great and representative of who you are and actually get you results in the marketplace. So I'm going to give you the influencer ingredients, the total tour. I'm going to give you the formula for a successful homepage and how to actually apply this for yourself, as well as a list of the other pages that you have to include. I'm going to go through a ton of examples. As I do this, you don't have to take pictures of the slides. If you want to, you're welcome to. I'm going to give you all the slides, and I'm going to give you the actual copy template and formula to apply this for yourself and give you all the tools that we actually use for our clients so that you can, woo! Thank you. Yeah, so I'll give you everything that we use as an agency to go apply for yourself and use with your web team. I'll go through each of these in detail based on examples, but we'll start the site with a header. We'll go through exactly what that looks like and everything that goes on there, going into a compelling story introduction, building credibility and social proof, then inviting people to work with you, giving them some free value and content, having social connection with purpose. We'll talk about what that looks like with and without purpose, and we're going to end strong with your shoes and a memorable footer. I'm going to give you this template as well that you can actually apply to your site. So everything I just listed, here's what that looks like in a template. So header with all the header components we'll talk about, introduction to who you are, starting to build credibility and social proof, inviting people to work with you or engage with you or hire you to speak, giving them free content, and having a compelling footer. And these templates will also be available. These are 2 of our 5 most popular structures for a homepage that then we plug and play and customize. So these I'm also going to give you at the end here. So we'll start with a header with a hero shot, a key headline, an opt-in, And just really what starts to happen here is, firstly, you're connecting with Roland. So what does this have as a formula? Hero shot where you're connected with a person, and it's an expression of who they are. Then you have a great headline that really is the main thing that you're here for, you're on the site for, to get actionable tools and strategies to help you profit from change, to create a culture of innovation, engage and align your team, improve your personal happiness, wealth, and freedom. Now that I know why I'm here, what's the first invitation that Roland gives me? It's to get access to his multiplier tool and training, explains a little bit more of what that is, and invites me to do that. Now, whether I do that or not, I know why I'm here, I know the value I'm going to get from the site, and I have my first invitation to get value from Roland. Now, contrast that with, if we go to perrybelcher.com right now, and we see that Perry is an advisor and investor, and we see that he wrote some article on Tripwire marketing ideas with premiums plus tips and tricks, and we see a little devilish icon and featured image for something that's not actually even related to this exact blog post. So we'll make fun of Perry's site a little bit more later, but just want to show the contrast, obviously, of effective, ineffective. And also for Ryan Deiss, I am Ryan Deiss, and then something that that Damon John says about him, and then these social links go off to social profiles, which have you leave the site, and some of them aren't even super active. Now, Ryan and Perry have this issue going on with their personal brands. When you Google one of their names, they're actually like, these sites are like the second or third result that comes up right after like Digital Marketer and their Twitter accounts. So people who are familiar with the digital marketer world, this may not hurt them that much. But people who, let's say they're looking for speakers for EO and somebody mentions one of their names and they go research them, and this is one of the things that they find, especially something like this, they're a lot less likely to get invited to, whether it's a major media appearance, a really great speaking gig, somebody writing about them, than obviously this guy, as well as the rest of the world and audience. So we've got Joe. Where's Joe? Is Joe in the room? Awesome. Yes. So Joe Polish, same formula, obviously completely different essence expression of what Joe's all about. So Joe's main thing is really there are two ways to run a business. You can have an elf business or a half business, easy, lucrative, and fun, or hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating. And really everything that is in Joe's world for entrepreneurs is to help them build more of an elf business and less of a half business. And once you're here, you know that that's a lot of what you're going to get invited to do. Now, there's other expressions that Joe has, but they all relate to this in some way. And then he gives you the immediate free tool on how to do that for yourself. Now, you see how you can apply this template really no matter what it is that you're doing. It's a headline with key benefit, subheadline, invitation to opt in, and an immediate value for the opt-in that helps you do the thing that's represented in the headline. We'll run through a few of these. After we get to know somebody, or after we introduce ourselves, and after we offer some immediate value and have a warm image, then we can go into our story and telling a little bit more of who we are or how we got here. So for Alex Charfen, right, story headline. Alex Charfen is a proud member of a band of brothers and sisters that includes Einstein, Oprah, Edison, and you. So brings you into his world and his story and connects you with it right away. You'll see again, there's a formula that's going on here in many ways. There's my story, and then there's a initial headline that brings you in. There's a little bit of content that's a combination of sometimes bio and sometimes more story-based. And then there's some social proof icons that aren't like these giant front and center things, but they're incorporated into Alex's story and associated with who he is. Another version of this is going straight into a first-person story. So for Robbie Richmond with X-Pill, he said, let me tell you how it all started. Then Burning Man happened. Cool, now I want to read the rest of Robbie's story. And he's not talking about the product so much, he's talking about his story and connection. For Dan Holguin, how the hell I got here, the international peak performance coach you see today may give off the wrong impression. Patrick, again, will go into really epic storytelling, formulas, and essence around this. So you'll kind of see examples of this, and you'll see Michael's story in there as well, which I'm really excited for Patrick to share. And one of the greatest pleasures that I've gotten out of working with many clients in this room and many other influencers in the world is that I've gotten to know their stories and who they are at core essence, which is so far beyond just their list of accomplishments. And I know that if I've gotten to know that through that being expressed in the world, their audience gets to know that and has a deeper connection with them, and it's more than just the transactional value. For JJ, just when I thought I was on top of the world. Right, for Roland, we have more of his bio here, and it follows the same kind of design structure. But when you go into a story, because you can follow this formula as well, right? Have the bio on the front end, and then when you go into the story, then have a deeper personal connection. So again, I'm going to let Patrick. I'm really excited for his talk. He'll share all about that. And for Joe, similar thing. We bring them in with a story headline that's more than just about Joe's accomplishments. And then bring them into a little bit of his bio, and then the read more goes into his full story there. You'll notice design-wise with each of these, right? While they're following a similar structure, each of these is an authentic expression of essence in some way, right? For Joe, there's more doodles, and if you go into his office and you see the gaping void art, that's an expression of who he is. Now, again, if we go to Perry Belcher's About page, you'll see a third-person bio that just seems a little bit confusing, and I thought it was a joke, and then I read all the way down, and it was just confusing. And then he's got videos on there from 2012 that are about how to import from China. Now, this is like, again, third result on Google for one of the co-founders of Digital Marketer. And this is his About page. So you can see how, for example, Roland's personal brand now impacts Digital Marketer brand in a very different way than Perry's personal brand. The most updated content on here, though, is there's a comment that Perry has on his About page from Big Boobs. This is from 2018. This is the most recent thing on his page. So I love these sound effects. And then for Ryan Dice, he's a little bit more professional than Perry. So he found somebody must have found him a WordPress template that says that he's an 80% brand consultant, 45% marketing campaigns, and 95% custom web design. I didn't know Digital Marketer or Ryan did custom web design. But this is his home page, his About section. And then if you click through a little bit further, then you'll realize that Ryan is also a digital agency, but at least he's forward-thinking, and he's a problem solver, and he does customer support. These are just examples of what not to do. Obviously, extreme examples of what not to do, because I'm giving you a lot of examples of what to do effectively here. Now let's talk about credibility. So we build credibility a lot of different ways. We can do it through media logos, putting up a client list, bestseller status, article links. Patrick, who you're about to hear speak, on his homepage, it's listed chosen speaker of more than 1,500 organizations, lists some of the organizations in not like these giant in-your-face, like, hey, I've spoken for Google, but among 1,500 organizations, here are some of them, and there are a bunch of pictures of him speaking. You can see how this immediately builds his credibility as a speaker while still being subtle enough. For Mike Koenigs, if you walk into his office, you'll see pictures of him with all the people he's interviewed. We've chosen to use that on his site as his content preview. For JJ Virgin, all of her best-selling books, this obviously builds credibility while also bringing people into her content and funnel. For Perry Belcher, if you click on the books page on his site, you will discover how to start a hot dog stand, or how to start a hot dog cart business and thrive from that. Now, if you scroll a little bit further down, the books get a little bit sketchier, but they're good content and material, and they were like some of the best in their industry in 2011. And again, this is right on his books page, which is supposed to build credibility. So then, if we go into credibility, is one thing, and then social proof is more of how you leverage your impact and network to build social proof. So for Roland, we have some pictures of him with fellow industry influencers, and you'll see in the center picture he's there with Damon John, and then he let Perry borrow some of that credibility as well. And then obviously other pictures with industry influencers, many of whom you meet in this room. For Mike Koenig's influencer insights about Mike, right, him and Tony. For Dean Graziosi, it's like Branson and Tony. For Joe, he's got Branson and all these other industry recognition things. Now, if you're not as cool as some of these guys to get like Branson and Tony Robbins to say personal things about you, what JJ Virgin did is just shared success stories of her actual customers and people that she's impacted, which is perfectly appropriate. You don't have to have Richard Branson quotes and pictures on there. You can actually just take screenshots from Facebook with permission of people that you've impacted and share that directly on your site. As you're doing design for social proof and for testimonials, in text, use a formula that's sort of like this, rather than just getting a big blurb of a testimonial on your site. Have the key headline, bold it, make it larger, of the greatest impact that you're having for that person, then the rest of the story below, and then the face and name. So not giant face, name, and big paragraph that nobody's going to read. People skim sites, they don't read them. They'll see the call out, they oftentimes won't read the full story. And for Sterling, this is effective because he's got both the video, a quote, and separately Facebook screenshots all within one section here. And as a bonus here, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on this. This is not on your homepage, but a lot of these media sections can click through to a media page. So on Roland's site, we have like a media page with featured mentions, video appearances, podcast interviews, authored articles and mentions. For JJ Virgin, media page that has the media kits for her various books. And for Joe as well, where he's been featured. If you scroll down that page, you see all of his recent features. And then at the bottom, if you want to interview or feature Joe somewhere, click here to get in touch. It sends to a media inquiry form. Once we've done all of that, ideally on the home page in different elements, now we can say, cool, here's my offering, here's how you work with me, or here's how you invite me to speak. Because we built a relationship, we built credibility, we built trust. And by the time they're at this point in the home page, it's more appropriate to make some sort of initial offer. For Mike Koenig's, his main thing was, I want to get more private advising clients on a high level. I've got funnels for my programs, but with this site, this is the important thing for me. So that was the first thing there. And then right below that on his site are bringing him in to speak, because that's a big profitable thing for him, or bringing him in for, or checking out his programs. Similar formula for Dan Holguin here. For Alex Charfin, right, instead of going into all of his programs on the home page, it's just, are you wanting to, and then plug in benefit, and I am here to help you with this benefit, right, and invite to your programs page or to work with you. For Joe, while there's a lot of things that Joe does, the main thing is Genius Network. So right in his home page, after you've built the relationship, and after you've gotten a bit of who Joe is, then there's an invitation to go check out Genius Network and the video on there. For Roland, we built a specific speaking site, which you can check out on his actual website there. But his speaking site includes a lot. So obviously invitation to have him speak, where he's spoken, who he's spoken with, a speaker reel, a speaker and media bio, and a form to fill out to bring him in. After we've invited somebody to connect with us or to do business with us, now we can bring them in to either before or after give them some free stuff, really great free value in the form of ideally a blog or a podcast that you keep on your page. These are, I mentioned these two examples earlier. I think essence expression matters a lot in the way that you do your blog. So for Yannick journals and doodles a lot. Frank writes things that are more like ads a lot. So it's important that the actual blog design and blog structure is something that you get excited enough about to express yourself on consistently. We'll jump through a few of these. Obviously, you can have your podcast and blog here as well. So Jeff Walker, newjeffwalker.com is launching hopefully within the next week or so. The current one that is there is embarrassing, and the new one's going to be freaking awesome. So in addition to his blog, we have his Launch Life podcast on there, all on the homepage. Now, a mistake is doing something like this, which is also on Perry Belcher's homepage, which is having an article from 2013 on your homepage. If you're going to have old stuff on there, just take the date off so it doesn't look like you haven't been updating anything in 5 years. And avoid the whole like really cheesy stock imagery thing on your featured images. Either make something custom or find something that's really truly relevant to the content and doesn't look really sketchy. Or that is also on the homepage there. I don't know if that, even though if that would get Facebook approved if you tried to send traffic to it. And then if you click on his blog, check your links. If you click on his blog, it goes to an old Tumblr account that says that there's nothing there. But Ryan, on the other hand, this is my favorite, because on Ryan's site, I clicked on his blog and it went to his Medium site, which the second article down is from 2015, so a little more recent than Perry's. But given that I just got married yesterday morning, I was really, and I love cats, I was really appreciating his second article on there, which is want to get married, then go to bed angry. Want to stay married, then go to bed angry. And he has a formula on how to do that with an angry cat. And if you're not going to blog a lot or you don't have updated stuff, but you do post on social media, just put your social media threads or streams on there for people to scroll through. And finally, this brings me to social connections with purpose. Let's start this time with what not to do. Social connections without purpose are listing a bunch of social media links, half of which don't work, and not telling people why they would go there to connect with you. That serves absolutely no value for your personal brand and your site. Another example of what not to do. An effective example of what to do, social connections with purpose, rather than just having social media links or icons on there, have a purpose for every one of them that you're putting up there. So for Roland, he does a lot on Facebook. He's got 1.1 million followers now. And a lot of what he does with promotions and sales and connecting with a larger audience and authentically sharing who he is happens on his Facebook page. Therefore, that's the main featured thing on there. And then it's a Let's Talk sent to Messenger, which is for connection and it's for lead generation. And then there's an intention of every other social network that describes up there what you do with it. Finally, the footer, the most memorable part of a site because it's at the bottom, meaning that everybody is going to scroll down. At some point, we'll see the footer. It's going to be on the bottom of every page, bottom of every blog post, and you remember this by thinking, what shoes are you wearing? What shoes is your site wearing? The footer should have this formula. Photo of you that they can reconnect with. That's a different one from the header, ideally even more personable. In this case, we're in Roland's wine room. The key opt-in, and ideally social connections, but maybe displayed in a little bit of a different way. So here's Roland's, here's Joe's, again, follows a similar connection formula, and here's Mike Koenig's, because at the top he's in a suit, at the bottom he's in a very different kind of suit, and we see again the social connections that invite people with intention for each network, and the opt-in again. Finally, other pages, and you'll get all of these on the resources. So these are just some of the other pages that you'll want to have in addition to your home page on your influencer site. And if you want to model the best to fully express your most authentic self, here's what's next. Go to influex.com/model. Go there right now. It'll open up a Google Doc. Just click File, make a copy, and then you copy that Google Doc that has all of our formulas, templates, homepage formula that I just went through here, including where you type in all of the copy, a bunch of examples, and a whole lot of other resources for your photography, for your storytelling, and pretty much everything else you need to do this on your own or give it to a web team. All there for free, no opt-in required. Just play with it. I put my email on there if you're going to implement this stuff. Just send me an email at some point and just be like, hey, here's what I did. Check it out. And I'd love to take a look. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. This has been a lot of fun.
It's awesome. Thank you,
Yes.
Dean. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you, Roland, for the epic wedding reception.
Oh, yeah.
That was an amazing 2-hour
We
party.
got out on the lawn under the gazebo, the whole
Yes.
Let me have that, and I'll give it to
Yes,
Patrick.
absolutely.
So Dima and then Patrick, who's coming up in a second, will be available to answer questions in Mastermind A, I think it is, but I'll tell you exactly where it is after this. But so that they both have time to do everything, we wanted to kind of put them right after each other. And I already told you about Patrick, met with him. I was against doing the personal story because I thought it was going to be hokey and silly and stupid, and I ended up loving it, and it actually has helped me with working with Tucker with the book that I'm doing. So I'm going to bring him up and just let him share his awesomeness with you. Patrick, give Patrick a big welcome. Patrick Combs.
I introed you before. Yeah, I heard you, yeah. Yeah, I will, yeah. Great, let's do this first before we dive into how to make your story better. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to meet 2 new people in this room, even if it means you got to meet fast. Go.
I'm Dan.
Hey, Dan.
I'm one of
Patrick,
the-
nice to meet you. Pardon? Oh, thanks, okay. Go. And what if I launch it like that? Is it good? All right. 30 seconds.